Alright, good morning YouTube. It is your boy Atticus, and we are back. So, a couple things. I just did 5 games as the Dark Elves versus the Greenskins, and I tried uploading a new video that was just going to be called Redemption, where I'm just focused on fighting Greenskins. Yesterday, if you didn't see it, I actually challenged Jonton from Total Brohammer. Really cool guy. Really cool guy. He's doing a series. It's called Greenskins Week, and all he does is Greenskins. And yeah, I challenged him, and I lost both games against him, guys. I just wasn't on top of my game. I think nerves got the best of me. He had an audience, and yeah, I just played really bad. I was outclassed, and he just defeated me. The first game, he had like 5 skirmishers, and half my force was on the other side of the map. I wasn't patient with Marathi, just made a lot of mistakes. And on the second game, I tried to do a terror bomb build, and yeah, it failed too. So I did 5 games this morning against just random opponents. I mean, I said 1v1, please be Greenskins. And yeah, I won 4 of the one thing, and I tried uploading it, and for some reason it wouldn't. So I'm going to redo that video, guys. I'm just going to practice just 1v1 versus Greenskin players, and I'm going to learn that matchup inside and out. So, the next time I challenge, a high-level Greenskin player, I don't make a fool of myself like we did last night. But, no, hey, even the best players lose, guys. It's nothing to be ashamed of. But it was a little disheartening, because both times I didn't even put in a good fight. So, yeah, I'm going to redo that here a little bit later. But up until then, I wanted to upload this really cool Dark Elf versus Tomb Kings build. And the reason for that is this build that I'm using is from a variation of a build I built to defeat Greenskins that go really heavy with missile cav. So, on this game we're fighting, I think the opponent's name's Passive. He brought a very construct heavy build with a lot of missile potential, a lot of Ushabtis, and yeah. And this build, we're going to test it, see how it does, guys. So we'll go ahead and look at my army first. So you can see here, guys, I've brought in 3, that's right, 3 different Reaper bolt throwers, and these guys are going to be a counter to his Ushabti Greatbows. I've noticed that a lot of times when I do lose in this matchup, it's because guys will go like 5 different Ushabti Greatbows. And yeah, I mean, these things are always going to be a safe bet, unless your opponent goes really heavy of carrying, which fortunately for me he didn't. But yeah, they have really good armor piercing. You can switch them to do multi-shot for infantry once I do take care of the constructs. And yeah, really good armor piercing, guys, and they do a lot of damage. So as long as I'm focusing those on constructs, they're going to give as good as I'm going to get. I'm also brought front line of Blackguard of Nagron. And yeah, this is a pretty good old school match build that you would use versus like vampires, and it does really good versus Tomb Kings too. The idea is the Blackguard, they trade really. If you look at their stats, 31, 36, or excuse me, 36, 48, weapon strength 44. They could trade with Tomb Guard. They can trade with skeletons, and they can also take care of Ushabti and constructs. So it's a pretty safe bet. Their number one weakness is always going to be great bows and range. So as long as you protect them, these guys will munch through Tomb King infantry. I also brought Marathi, who's my favorite lord, and I actually brought her in. I brought her in both games that I fought against Jonton and lost. With her, you just got to be patient. You don't be afraid to send her into melee, but you got to protect her. And I don't know. I still think she's the best unit, and if you're playing patiently with her, you'll see what she can do. So for her spell loadout, guys, I brought Doom Bolt, Soul Stealer, and I brought the spell that what's it called? Soul Blight, which reduces armor and melee or weapon damage. So this will be really just help the Blackguard munch through things. On each side, I brought. You can see right here, Corsairs, Blackguard Corsairs, and these guys are really good anti-infantry. They have a bonus to infantry, which I figured that they would help, clean up the shaft, clean up the skeletons that the Blackguard would be fighting. You can also see that I have 1 unit of spearmen, and these guys dread spears, and their job was either to protect the bolt throwers or just the assist with the main engagement, depending on what my opponent brought. I also brought for my cav contingent 2 Dark Riders with shields and a Cold One Knights. And the idea of this versus either Greenskins or Tomb Kings is just to scare away any cavalry, missile cav, and to also make my opponent have to respond to them while my forces move up. So it plays both as a distraction and as almost a missile sponge. And it can, with the Cold One Knights, you could take out any chariots or even constructs. if you get into the back line, you could get into the Ushabti Greatbows as well. So yeah, that's my my force here. For my opponent, for passive, I think his name is a South Korean player, I do believe. He brought 1, 2, 3 units of the Ushabti Greatbows, and these guys are a really good counter to Dark Elves, specifically for that point which I mentioned before. One of the best tools you have in defeating the Tomb Kings is, your Blackguard, but these guys will just shred through them with their armor piercing and their range, and they're no slouches in combat too. Once they run out of ammunition, guys, they get hit pretty hard. He also brought the Chosen of the Gods, and these guys I think it's armor sundering. Is that what it is? It's either that or it's a shield breaker, excuse me. So these guys will actually take any missile resist or chance to block. They'll lower it. So it's always a good pick. He also has, let's see here, a couple units of spearmen. 1 unit, is it 2 units of, 2 units of Tomb Guard, supported by 2 spearmen. He also has over here 2 units of just regular Ushabtis. And these guys are really good. Just munching through infantry. They have armor piercing, so if you mix them in with a bunch of Tomb Guard, these guys are really good. The only problem with these, this build though, is obviously going to be all the Tomb Guard that I brought, or excuse me, the Blackguard I brought. He also brought here a War Sphinx, and these guys are so good in getting to your back line. So if I'd have brought a lot of archers, these guys could just gallop their way through your front line and just revic in your back, or cause what's the word I'm looking for? Rampage, chaos in your back line. This is a really good pick. These guys have a lot of mobility, a lot of mass, so they can get through your armor. And for his lord, he brought Katep, and Katep on the on his Casket of Souls, which is really good armor-piercing missiles. So we're gonna go ahead and just start the game here, guys, and kind of just break this down and see how we do it. So right off the bat, as you can see here, I'm gonna start just focusing on his constructs. He's going to start getting his Ushabti Greatbows into position. I'm going to start moving up my Reaper Bolt Throwers. And we're going to start trading in our missiles. Trying to get as much armor-piercing damage to each other as we can. As you can see, I'm going to start moving my forces up here. Start getting them into position. Since he does have a lot of Ushabtis, it doesn't really serve me well just to sit here and just trade with him. It's better to get the damage in with my bolt throwers and and try to close in that space where normally the Ushabti Greatbows would be doing the most of their damage. Over here, I'm gonna start getting my cav. The idea is to maybe flank them around, try to do the bullet sponges like I spoke to earlier, and kind of divert some of his attention off my most expensive units and dealing with them. So Marathi's going to get in position, and right now you're going to see a really good volley of the Reaper Bolt Throwers. Since the War Sphinx was up front, that's going to be who I focus on first. And you can see, guys, it's chipping away, it's doing a little bit of damage. But yeah, you can see the order I give to the Ushabti Greatbows, and those are the ones I was most concerned about. I wanted to deal with them, as soon as possible. Also, guys, I'm going to go ahead and cast a Doom Bolt, and the reason I do it on the Tomb Guard is if you try it on the Ushabti Greatbows, usually they're too fast and they'll run away, and you won't get the damage. So I'm going to try to get really good here on the Tomb Guard, and it does a little bit of damage, guys. Nothing too crazy, but anything I could do will help. So yeah, right now, guys, we're just having a really good, trading of missiles here, and you can see the damage his Ushabtis are doing to my Blackguard. Even though I have all this Reaper Bolt Thrower pressure, guys, there's nothing I can really do, to prevent this. But, maybe a few Harpies would have been good, but in this matchup, I don't know. I wanted to try this because this is half what I would use against Greenskins, as well as the Tomb Kings. So yeah, our front lines are getting ready to collapse here to fight, and I'm going to cast Soul Blight, which is going to lower the armor and the weapon damage of this little pocket here. And I'm also going to send Marathi in to attack the Ushabti Greatbows. And for you guys who don't know, she is anti-large and she has armor piercing, so it's just surprisingly do pretty good in this, and it keeps them from firing. They're the Chosen of the Gods, so they're the biggest threat. Over here, I'm trying to just screen, find a pocket to get my forces in, and I'm going to see that he has a Ushabti Greatbow out of position, so I'm going to send my Cav, my Cold Wind Knights, all to lock those guys down, and that's a really good catch for me. Over here, you guys, you can see, sorry, I apologize for the lag. Hopefully it stops. There we go. The Reaper Bolt Throwers are still just focusing in on the Ushabti Greatbows. They are the biggest threat that we have at the moment. And my opponent gets a good, I forget what it is, but it's the Area Effect Tornado spell. And yeah, this is a really good catch for me too, guys. I have the War Sphinx, tied in with a Blackguard and Nagaron, which is ideal. This is what I want. They're not going to last very long. Over here, I did get another unit of his Greatbows tied up. You can see over here as well, I have the Cold Wind Knights. So I tied up 3 different units. I have Marathi tying one up, these guys, and then these guys, which I'm pretty much sacrificing. He does cast the incantation of Desiccation, which is pretty much like a a trophy head or something like that. It lowers the melee attack and the defense. As for the the infantry fight, he did break through the left side, which is fine, guys. It's to be expected. The Black Guard are holding, and we are going to cast another Soul Blight here, which is lowering their armor and their weapon damage. What I'm trying to do is just give my Black Guard a chance, just to kill as many of those guys as I can. As you can see right here, guys, I almost did make a mistake. Marathi almost did get tied down, but I did see that he was starting to collapse on her. So I'm going to cast a really good Doom Bolt, and I think I'm going to get a Soul Stealer here in a second. So let's go ahead and just see the damage that this Doom Bolt causes. Yeah, I mean, that wasn't the greatest one, guys, but it helps. But yeah, Marathi is not into a very good position right here. This is not good for me, and I remember during this game I was like clicking, trying to get her out of there, but I couldn't because of the mass of the Ushabti. So I am going to cast a Soul Stealer, and yeah, I'm just trying to keep her alive. As for the main line here, guys, you can see my bolt throwers have been pretty much free to just rain death this whole game. He hasn't had any carrion or skeletons that have did any damage, and so they've just been chipping away at the Ushabti and the War Sphinx, which is good for me. You can see here that I did get Marathi out of the fight, and if you're wondering why I keep sending her into melee, her Enchanting Beauty debuff, one of them gives -8 melee attack to any units around her, and the other one, which is I think the Heartrender sword, you have to be in actual combat to get the so altogether you're getting -18 melee attack. So it's really helping cut these. Let's go ahead and look at it. The Tomb Guard here, 14 melee attack because of Marathi, and then you do Soul Blight on top of that, and they're not going to kill anything. And yeah, you can see right here we've almost dealt with the War Sphinx. And the bolt throwers are just raining death on these guys. I mean, this is ideal for me. Protect the bolt throwers and just focus down all his large, all the large opponents. So now that I've dealt with that, I'm going to send Marathi in to start trading with Katep. As for the infantry fight, guys, I mean the Black Guard has done really good, but he does have a nice little pocket of spears and Tomb Guard still left. As for his the anti-large and stuff, I have the advantage. A lot of my forces have broke, so now that they've returned, I'm going to get them back into combat. And I've actually switched a couple of the bolt throwers to the the scatter shot, trying to focus in on the infantry. Over here, Marathi once again is starting to get surrounded, so I'm going to get her out of there. You don't want to overextend. If I lose her, that's really going to turn the balance of power back to my opponent. And yeah, the more time that he spent chasing her, which means that my Black Guard are having a better chance to hit him in the back and do as much damage as I can. So yeah, pretty much all my forces are coming back now, guys, and you can see that the scatter shot is just raining in on these guys. And I do believe I'm gonna get another Soul Blight. I'm gonna get Marathi back into the engagement to get that -18 melee attack. And let's go ahead and look at their stats. Yeah, 14 for these Tomb Guard. These spears are at 1 melee attack. So that just shows you the power of Marathi. Yeah, she's so good, as long as you can keep her alive. My opponent does cast the the Ushabti summons that he has, but against these Black Guards and spears, they're not going to do very good. And I do have Marathi trying to focus down Katep, and I am going to eventually call in the rest of my cav here and get them into back into to combat. So yeah, now I have the bolt thrower, just going to focus on Katep, and we're just going to clean this up, guys. I pulled Marathi out. I'm going to get a nice little cycle charge here, and yeah, there we go. So yeah, so this build worked, guys. I mean, you saw how much debuffs Marathi does. So if you're thinking, why would you take the Black Guard? They're not going to be able to trade with Tomb Guard and spears and all that. Like, yeah, as long as you have Marathi cutting their attacking potential by 18, it does work. And not to mention Soul Blight. So utilizing this same concept against the Orcs, the Greenskins, I think might work. So yeah, that should be game, guys. We're going to wrap it up here, and now you can just see it's Katep getting hit by Marathi's anti-large. Ain't gonna be much he could do about it. So we'll go ahead and look at the end screen breakdown here in a second. And yeah, good game to my opponent, passive. And any second here now. Any second here now. There we go. So let's go ahead and look at the end screen here. So yeah, guys, I mean the Reaper Bolt Throwers were just so good in this matchup. Versus Greenskins, I'd have to actually dedicate some units just to protect him from all the skirmish cav that that they could bring. But if you're just focused on Tomb Kings, and if he doesn't bring carrying guys, you saw it counters the Ushabti Greatbows, it countered the War Spinks, and just pretty much the whole game, guys. There's not much you can do about it, especially if he doesn't build for it. As for the Blackguard, yeah, guys, I mean, they chewed through the infantry, they chewed through the constructs, and with Marathi supporting them, they're just so good. I love them. I love that. It's a very old school style of play, and it does really good against vampires as well. And the Dark Riders and the Cold One Knights did really good as well. I mean, pretty much this whole build just performed admirably for me. As for my opponent, yeah, this is a really good Tomb Kings build, and 7 times out of 10 it might work, but yeah. We played good, guys. We had the debuffs. We used Soul Blight to our advantage, and we just were able to win the missile game. So, all right, guys, it's Atticus, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.